Got to talk about it. So, what CFPB halt means for medical debt forgiveness for millions of Americans. I covered this when the medical debt was supposed to be being wiped off of credit reports because I totally agree that medical debt is not a true testament of a person's credit worthiness. So it doesn't deserve to be on the credit report, in my personal and professional opinion, not to mention the HIPAA laws associated with it. Now that it's coming to a halt due to the CFPB being targeted in the Department of Government Efficiency that, is led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, that Trump put into place. But let's dive in deeper to see what it means for Americans. So it says, since newly Trump appointed Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has taken over the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the agency has mandated a complete halt and review of services to promote consistency under the new administration, which I understand. It's a lot of things, a lot of tables got to get turned over in order to see where money is unnecessarily being leaked, lost, etc. But I think the CFPB is truly for the people. Let's keep going. Why it matters. The CFPB was first created after 2008 banking recession to protect customers from unfair and predatory corporate behavior, which happens. A lot of times these big guys get bailed out. The little guy end up paying the bill when it trickles all down. And by the little guy, I mean, the everyday customer consumer that doesn't have his deep pockets to go to cases and court cases and things of that nature. So that's it. The halt means the CFPB will cease crafting regulations or enforcing any rules or investigations. The halt was effective immediately, the Washington Post reported. And I've used the CFPB to help different clients get things removed. So I know the power and the potency and the importance of the CFPB. So to cease regulations and enforcing any rules or investigations can be detrimental to the consumer. Here's what you need to know. Republicans have attacked the CFPB as anti-business, with lawmakers calling to remove funding from the program. Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk, has also pushed for Congress to eliminate the CFPB. Former President Joe Biden's administration saw the CFPB make significant changes for predatory lenders under the CFPB's former director, Chopra, which he has a strong track record for things he's been able to accomplish. The CFPB also lowered the burden of medical debt and helped customers see lower fees after missing credit card bills. Now, some of these big companies, they've been hit. They've been sued. They've had to pay. So that's why they don't like the CFPB. But in many times, they have been doing predatory behavior towards consumers, or they've been operating unlawfully, and they're just being held accountable. And CFPB is an entity that fights for the consumer, and they don't like to see the CFPB coming, representing the consumer. So, of course, they don't want that to take place. Businesses don't want it to take place. Elon Musk being a business owner, I can see him possibly being one of the ones who may have been affected, one of his umbrellas being affected if he was sued by the CFPB. So we got to see who benefits from these different things. But I do know and firmly believe that the CFPB is beneficial to the consumer, because they have different lawsuits and then they create a pot of money put into like an escrow account. I forget exactly what it's called right offhand. I've talked about it several times in several videos, but that money tends to go to consumers and it trickles down into other cases of people who may have been victims. So the CFPB, I feel, is very relevant. Anyway, while under the direction of shoppers last month, the CFPB outlined new rules to eliminate unpaid medical debt on Americans' credit reports. This move, approved to go into effect in March, would impact millions of Americans. See, that having the medical debt being eliminated could be very beneficial to many people, maybe even you. And like I know, that medical debt is not something that typically a person just applies for and then they just disagree to pay. It's a different scenario that tends to take place, and it's not a true reflection of credit worthiness. That's just how I feel. You let me know if you disagree. Drop it in the comments and tell me why. I'm cool either way. And this is not an emotional attachment to any party. I like some of the things that the Department of Government Efficiency is up to. I like some of the things that Trump is up to as well. I'm not emotionally attached to it. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Okay, who's in office? How can it affect certain things in my household, bottom line, business, family, future, families, etc. How can I take advantage of what's coming down the pipeline? So this is non-emotional for me, but I do like some of the things that they're doing. This is one of them that I don't like. So I'm just throwing it out there. The CFPB has been instrumental in fighting junk fees that unfairly target American consumers. So, what are people saying? American Bankers Association President Rob Nichols, in a statement, we urge Secretary Bessent to begin reversing the damage caused by these misguided regulatory actions and stand ready to support its efforts to chart a better course for the Bureau. So, they're trying to reverse some of the actions. The American Bankers Association, of course, because they benefit because they've been the ones hit because they've overcharged fees in certain areas to consumers. So, they got a biased perspective on it. So you got to be mindful of how does this benefit them? Oh, it makes sense that they're against it because of this. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, in a statement, I look forward to working with the CFPB to advance President Trump's agenda to lower costs for American people and accelerate economic growth. This is a good statement because that's what the CFPB can do. It can help lower costs for Americans. And if that's the mission, to lower costs for Americans, then that definitely is something worthy of standing behind. And I can see Trump ultimately seeing the power of the CFPB. Now, I will say this. I'm going to go on record and saying this. If the CFPB comes back and, they see the importance and the value that they play, the CFPB is going to go through the roof in terms of usage. People are going to realize what they was likely to lose, and their relevance will increase on another level. So they may end up needing some help, some backup, because more people will understand the power and the importance and the role that they play. So I'm interested to see how that plays out, because I can see them saying, okay, the CFPB, we need them, they're in full effect, and boom, people rushing to use them. So that's a whole nother conversation. Senator Elizabeth Warren, in a statement, shutting down the CFPB enforcement actions that are on the verge of delivering money into the pockets of working people is at odds with President Trump's claim that he wants to lower costs for families, which he has done next to nothing on so far. Now, this is not a direct Trump move. This is a Department of Government Efficiency move led by Elon Musk, and we have to understand that as such. Now, how it plays out is a whole nother thing, but we shall see. Alex Bean, a financial literacy instructor for the University of Tennessee at Martin, told Newsweek, as with most moving pieces to the first weeks of the new administration, it's difficult to know what components the CFPB halt will affect. The reason for the halt is to ensure the priorities of the bureaus are in alignment with those of the administration. But even this explanation does little to clarify exactly what position will be taken on medical debt. Here's what Kevin Thompson saying, a finance expert and the founder of CEO and 9i Capital Group, told Newsweek. Bessent issued an order to halt any and all investigations and enforcement actions at this time. Based on his instructions, the agency will likely assess which payments need to be made and which enforcement actions should be disregarded. Given this directive, debt forgiveness efforts may be deprioritized as the administration focuses on reducing government spending. I truly believe that will eliminate whatever Biden has in place. So I'm not even giving, well, I ain't gonna say that, but we're just gonna have to see how this plays out. But I'm not saying that they just want to get rid of what Biden has in place. If it's beneficial to the American people, then I think it should stay. And if they understand it, or they unpack it, I believe they may come to that same conclusion. So what happens next? While Trump's administration has been relatively quiet on medical debt, the halt will likely delay any Americans waiting to qualify for debt relief, being said. And this is why you got to be proactive. Instead of just sitting back and waiting to see, oh, this is about to happen, never do that. Even though I feel that the CFPB is beneficial, even though I feel like the medical debt being removed off credit reports is beneficial, I'm still fighting for clients to get certain things deleted, removed, updated to positive, accurate reporting, using the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, using the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, using these codes to benefit consumers, not waiting. So you don't want to put yourself in a position to be sitting back waiting to qualify for debt relief. Unlike student debt forgiveness, medical debt forgiveness has been a topic this administration has been relatively quiet on, both during the campaign and after entering office. He said, regardless of whether medical debt forgiveness is supported or not, a halt to any existing or proposed procedures aimed at helping with debt relief is going to delay the many Americans who could qualify from receiving it. Thompson said that for the junk fee regulations, many of the enforcement actions could be delayed or canceled altogether. Junk fees such as overdraft fees and other charges imposed by financial institutions and corporations have been under scrutiny for quite some time, Thompson said. Some enforcement actions that were nearing payment may now be delayed or canceled altogether, depending on how the CFPB and Treasury Secretary proceed. With multiple lawsuits pending, many cases may receive temporary relief, postponing or eliminating required payments. So big businesses, big companies that have been sued do not want to see the CFPB. And many consumers benefit from the CFPB. Let's see what conclusion they're going to reach. I believe that the CFPB is beneficial based on my own observation, based on things that I've seen and things that I've learned by paying attention to the CFPB. So what are your thoughts? How do you think it will play out? Only time will tell, but I had to share this because I shared something associated with this before, and this is more of an update of what is happening right now in real time. That's all I got for this video. If you need any assistance with taking your credit to the next level, links available down below. Salute.